welcome back to Book Club Preview. Today we're looking at The Hobbit Chapter 2, and this chapter we actually start getting into some adventure. It starts off with Bilbo waking up and just seeing a mess of plates everywhere. It looks like the dwarves woke up early, made breakfast, and took off and left the mess for Bilbo. Bilbo's pretty upset. He starts cleaning up. Then he ends up making his breakfast. He hangs out for a while, ends up making second breakfast when Gandalf comes in and knocks on the door. And Gandalf says, "What are you doing? Have you lost your mind? Haven't you checked the mantelpiece? Haven't you dusted it, cleaned it?" And Bilbo's like, "No, I've been cleaning everything else." And he's like, "You would have found this." And there's a letter saying, "Dear Mr. Burglar, if you join us, you will get a part of the treasure that we find. There's 14 members of the adventuring team. You will get a 14th share in the treasure. Meet us at this inn by 11. And it's like 10:45. Gandalf says, "You're going to have to run. Get out of here." And Bilbo's like, "Oh my goodness, what am I going to do?" And he gives Gandalf the key. And he's like, "I'm going to go." And Bilbo runs off to join the dwarves. He gets there right at 11. They have a pony ready for him. They have some other horses with a bunch of things on them. And they get him up there and they start on their journey. Bilbo doesn't have a lot of stuff, so they lend him a hat and a cloak. And Gandalf later brings his pipe and things. And the adventure starts off pretty well. They're going through fields and they're camping or staying at some places. And there's strange people and interesting things. But slowly they get into more wild and wild lands. Until finally they get into the wild land and it's raining. It's raining hard. Everything is soaking wet and Bilbo is complaining in his mind. "Oh, I wish I was home. I wish I was home. This sucks." Well, after they're traveling in the rain, it's time to stop, maybe have dinner, maybe try to find a place to camp. There's no dry place, but they just sit down and try to build a fire. In this rain, they can't build a fire, even though the two dwarfs that are really good at building fires can't even do it. But in the darkness, they see a fire in the distance. So they want to go check out that fire, but they're a little worried that it could be trouble. So they send Bilbo. Bilbo doesn't want to go, but they send him. He goes, and he sees this fire in the woods. And around this fire are 3 giant trolls. Now, Bilbo's hiding, and he realizes, man, I better go tell the other dwarves, or the dwarves, but I can't go empty-handed. I need to steal some food, or kill these guys and stab them in the back, or pick their pockets. And he's like, okay, I'm going to go pick their pocket. He goes to one, and he tries to steal the wallet. This is picking the pocket, but the wallet is enchanted. So as he picks it, the wallet says, "Who are you?" And then the troll grabs Bilbo really fast, and Bilbo's like, "Me," like he's just holding down, dangling from him. They're like, "What are you?" And one of the trolls actually wants to let Bilbo go because he's like, "Oh, look at this little guy, he's so cute." You know, maybe if you caught a mouse and you're like, should I kill the mouse or should I let the mouse go? It's kind of how this troll feels. Well, while they're arguing, the dwarves start to come to check in on Bilbo. So one comes in, they capture him, then they hide. Another one comes in, they capture him and they hide. And they keep going and capturing until Thorin comes in. And then Bilbo's like, "Look out, it's a trap." And Thorin says, "Oh yeah," and he runs forward and they try to catch him and they miss him. He grabs a big branch out of the fire and he starts swinging it at the trolls. And they start battling until finally, though, they capture him. So it looks like they're all going to die. Oh, where's Gandalf? He's disappeared. When it started raining, he just disappeared. They don't even know where Gandalf is. So they're captured. Bilbo's actually, he kind of escaped and he's hiding in a bush. And the trolls start to argue. Who should we eat first? How should we eat him? And so they start arguing, and then they finally decide. But then this voice from the side, who the trolls think are each other, says a different idea. And we learn that this is Gandalf giving some distraction. And they start arguing again and start fighting, and then they decide. And then the voice says something else. And they start arguing and fighting, and then they decide. And then the voice says something else, and they start arguing and they're fighting, and then they decide. Well, eventually they do this all night. Oh, this is all the dwarves getting caught. They do it all night until the dawn comes. And then the voice says, "The dawn take you all!" And the sun rises, and the trolls go, "Roar!" And they freeze and turn to stone in the sun. Because the trolls are made from stone and dirt and mountain earth things. And if they're seen in the daylight, they turn back to what they're made out of. So Gandalf saves the dwarves, and he opens them up, sets them free. Everyone's really cranky and starts arguing. Then Gandalf says, "Man, what are you guys doing? There's got to be a troll cave or a troll hole around here where they're keeping their treasures. Let's go find it." They find like a door to a cave, but they can't open it. They try magic spells. They try everything. And Bilbo's like, well, I found this. And it's a large key. They're like, Bilbo, why didn't you tell us sooner? And they grab the key and they open the door and they find the troll's treasure. There's food, there's clothes, there's weapons. 3 weapons in particular. 2 beautiful swords that Gandalf takes one and Thorin takes one. And a knife in a leather sheath that Bilbo takes. It's a little pocket knife for a troll, but it's a huge short sword for a hobbit. So it works out perfectly for him. They take all the treasure, the golden things, and they go bury it and hide it someplace later. So if they come back, they can find the treasure. And then they start to go again, and Thorin's like, "Gandalf, where have you been?" And Gandalf says, "I went ahead to see if there's any danger, and I found some friends. The friends told me about the trolls, and I came back to save you guys." And Thorin says, "Thank you for coming back to save us." That leaves us with some vocabulary. Not a lot here, I thought, but if there's some words in here that I missed or expressions, please write them in the chat so that way I can answer them and everyone can see the answer to those questions. Because if you don't know the word, probably everyone else doesn't know the word too. So just a few here. The first one is quarreling. Quarreling is fighting or arguing. The trolls kept quarreling. Scabbard. A scabbard is a case that you put your sword in. So if I have a sword, if I don't have a case around it, it's going to like slice me up as I'm walking. But I put it in the case and whoosh, we pull it out, open the case of it. So that is a scabbard, the case that you have for a sword. Scant. Scant means small, not a lot, or not worth mentioning. It's so small, a scant amount of food, because their pony washed away with all the food on it. Waylaid means to stop. They stopped their way. They slowed their way. That leaves us with our discussion question. What would you do with the trolls if you were Bilbo Baggins? Right? There's a fire, you're cold, you're hungry, there's some trolls. What would you do? Would you try to kill them? Would you try to steal the food? Would you try to pick their pockets? Would you go back to the dwarves? Would you do something else? If you were Bilbo in this situation with the trolls, what would you do? And of course, please make your own discussion question. That is all the time that we have for today. But thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Book Club Preview. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.